Hey, good morning, Justice Seekers. How you guys doing this morning? It's almost 10 a.m. on our magical day that we've all been looking so forward to, November 1st. So a whole bunch of hoopla, right? Um, so I just want to say good morning. I had a marathon yesterday with, I did a pre-recorded short. I did two medium lives, and then I did a marathon panel last night, totally unexpectedly. So that was definitely my record. So I'll tell you whose channel it was. It was Squirrels on Fire. Hey, Rhonda R. Good morning. So when I was going to bed, I just checked in with Squirrels on Fire to see what she was up to, and she had a live and I couldn't tell how long it had been going, but I said hi. She invited me in. One thing led to another, and then 5 hours later, we all finally decided to go to bed in the wee hours of the morning. It was kind of fun, but it was also like real serious. It's like we're really trying to get some answers for Kylie. Is everything all right with the angles and the light and all that jazz? So this is one of my favorite shirts. I did not make it at all, but I did buy this green shirt specifically to wear with it to highlight. Did not make my earrings, made this necklace and this necklace, but not this necklace. And then that's it. That's all the stuff that I made today. Anyway, if anyone cares. I know some people are like, screw you and your damn jewelry. And that's cool too. Although I was thinking, I don't know how all this YouTube channel stuff works. I was thinking that maybe I think you're supposed to do giveaways when you get monetized and all that stuff. So I was thinking I could start doing giveaways with my jewelry in that event. So that would be fun, I think, for people. Who doesn't love jewelry, right? Even guys. It's kind of a metrosexual kind of thing. So let me just say everything that I say is my opinion only. I'm completely insane, so don't trust anything that comes out of my mouth. I'm a lunatic, okay? Certifiable. And I'm a professional, so I know this. I know that I'm completely off my rocker. Everything that I say is my opinion. It's purely for the sake of conversation, hoping to open up a discussion. It's just me and you, Rhonda, but we'll have a great discussion, I'm sure. And I hope that it's educational and entertaining. You know, I mean, we're in this true crime community. We are in it to win it. We are in it for the right reasons. I want to show you my cute little mug, little Statue of Liberty. I actually got to go up in the crown of the Statue of Liberty. I wanted to go up here, but you weren't allowed. But I was able to go up in the crown and see it real close. I was 7. It was insane. It felt like miles of a hike through this thing, through the desert. You know, the steps were like 12 feet tall. I mean, I'm talking from a 7-year-old's perspective, right? Anyway, I want to read you a couple of these things, and then we'll get to Kylie Rodney right away. Miss Liberty, 1886 to 1986, who raised the $250,000 cost of the statue? France. Who raised the $350 cost of the marble and concrete base for the statue? I haven't never read my cup. United States. Wow, so the base was more expensive than the statue. What monument stands as a reminder of the principles of weatherability, long-term performance, stability, freedom of movement? Statue of Liberty. What construction? I thought it said corruption. What corruption are we out to get today? Okay. What construction sealant applies these same principles? Dow, Corning, silicone sealants. Okay, sorry, I just was advertising for Dow without realizing it. Hey, Pixie Knickers, how's it going? So, yeah, I mean, that's so much of our United States of America. Here I am advertising for Dow completely unwittingly. So, you know, we're in our corporate capitalist society. So how is everybody doing this morning? How are you guys? I mean, what a big day and weekend with all of the crap with the Delphi case. And then all of the crap with Kylie Rodney's case. So those who don't know, and probably a lot don't know yet, Squirrels on Fire did a 10-hour Halloween special. What did she call it? Trucky Treating Halloween Live Chat. Squirrels on Fire. I think we ended at about 3 something this morning, maybe closer to 4. And I came on at around 10:30. I was just going to say hi for a couple of minutes. I thought maybe half an hour. I just was trying to stay awake, and I just did not want to lose my opportunity to try to converse with Megan. Megan was on when I got on, and she stayed on. I was on there with Megan for probably about 4 hours. And for the most part, I was just trying to listen. I had a lot of questions. I had a lot of things to say, but I love to exercise my listening skills. And I really wanted to hear what Megan had to say. And at one point, I got really frustrated. Good morning, everybody. I felt like she was talking in circles and saying the same thing that she's been saying from the outset, which was really just sheerly defending Sammy. And I confronted her about it. I tried to be polite and respectful. I watched it this morning and it didn't seem that bad to me this morning, but last night I felt kind of bad. I felt like I attacked her. And she broke down in tears and she left. I don't know how long she'd been on there. I mean, she was on there for 4 hours that I was on there. I don't know when she got on. So I haven't watched that 5 hours before I got on. So she might have been on there for 5 hours for all I know. I could ask Miss Squirrels, but there's just so many things that I wanted to share. And I think it's about the 5 hour and 9 minute mark that I came into the conversation. There were already 4 people discussing, and then I was the 5th. And then I think that the confrontation happened at about 9 hours and 8 minutes for anybody who's interested. And then I think that she jumped off. She was in tears and, saying, I can't do this. I can't do this. And I was just really simply trying to say, these were my words: Sammy's cooked her own goose. There's nothing you can do to protect her from herself. And I stand by that. And I also want to say that if I am incorrect about anything, I will gladly admit that I'm incorrect about anything. And as I've said again and again, and I've said it in other situations like this, I hope that I am wrong. I don't have a need to be correct. I have a need to speak the truth. And Justice legit started twitching when she was on. I legit started twitching when she was on. I had to go before you came in, but she seriously says nothing of any logic or factual information. So I'm really curious if you can share with us about what time she came on. But, she was saying kind of the same old, and just talking in circles. And she seemed to progress a little bit out of that once in a while, but then she would go back to it. And that was when, it was, I think, 2:15 in the morning. And I was just like, I've had it. And I think everybody here has had it. And I'm going to do a public service and just call bullshit. Like, stop. You're wasting your time. You're wasting everybody's time. Little Miss, right? We don't need to say anybody's name. It was Squirrels on Fire. I just looked. I think about 3 hours and 39 minutes is when she gets going. Megan, I mean. Okay, good to know. So she was on there for at least an hour before me, and then I stayed on for about an hour after her, and I stayed on until we shut down. And, it just is what it is. We're trying to find the truth for Kylie. So I wanted to go to sleep, but I was like, I'm going to stay awake because this could be an opportunity that I don't want to miss. And maybe it's not, maybe it's just another thing. But, I stand by my confrontation. I really feel like it was necessary. And I hope that Megan's feelings weren't hurt. And if they were, I hope that you don't take it personally, Megan. All right. If you happen to be watching my thing, I have so many things to say. I have so many legit things to say. Let's see. Here's a new possibility. I've never really thought of this one. I kind of formulated this as I was listening to some of last night's 10-hour live. Was Jagger at the party or at the place where the party happened? Was he there earlier, possibly, with Kylie? And he did something. Something happened. He called in Sammy and all of his friends, Kate, Megan, and the batch of Nates and Evan and the other Evan Fife. Is it that the last name that has a brother with the same last name that's always in the Catfish crew? And Philip Franco, is that it? Anyway, sorry, my nose is all itchy. Did they come in to cover for something that Jagger might have done? I mean, I've honestly never thought of that scenario, but something made me think of it. I don't know if it might have been something that somebody else said. Probably was, since I've never thought of it. But I really want to hit home the absolute fact that law enforcement, first responders, put their lives in peril every fucking day. They are ready to go 24/7, 365. Most people know first responders are never off duty. They are required by law to jump in if anything happens anywhere and they're there, right? I mean, they are the true freedom fighters, in my opinion. And they're all about public safety, public health and safety. So when motherfuckers are out of control and abusing their power and they're corrupt and they're hurting the whole entirety of law enforcement as an establishment, as an institution, that pisses me off. And I'm really hopeful that there might be a team of lawyers and private investigators that UBAC Jeff has employed to take care of this shit and cut it out. Cut it out. You know, you're not only hurting other people, you're hurting yourselves, but you're too stupid to know any of it. You're too stupid to realize you're hurting yourself. You're too stupid to realize you're hurting other people, and you just don't care. It's like, okay, all right, there, I said it. Soapbox time. Crime Watch with Kenny. Good morning. You know, Kenny, I admire you so much. Thank you for joining me, and it was an honor to be on the panel with you. You know, I see you drop into these things with your nuggets of gold, and I just think you're extremely valuable in our true crime community. So thank you for being. Sorry, I can't deal with her goofy BS. I see zero help with her nonsense, and I don't truly believe she wants to help. Just attention, because we've all gotten nothing out of it, at least in my humble opinion. I agree, Phantasmic Ether, and like I said last night in the live, I feel like she comes out for some kind of damage control, and like it's ominous and it's foreshadowing that she's trying to lay the groundwork for some more bullshit to come down the pike. But yeah, it could just be that she wants the attention. But honestly, I think there's more to it than that. I feel like she just tries to derail our thoughts and discussion and ends up causing debate over the same things again and again. Legit. I think that's accurate. Okay. Please watch. Jack D. What are you saying to please watch, if you don't mind re-saying, so that I don't have to go back? And I don't know if we have any mods here. But I'm going to, when you exploded last night, it felt like it was my frustrations coming out. I loved it. I'm so happy you said that, Dana, because I felt like I was speaking for all of us. That's why I just went ahead and bit the bullet and did it, because I didn't want to, but I felt like all of us were probably in that same boat of wanting to and not wanting to. So, you know, I was my own sacrificial lamb. Likewise, I love your lives too. I couldn't believe, where'd that go? I missed it. Oh, I couldn't believe the shite she was coming out with, always on the defense. I think Megan has a few screws loose. You know, she was saying that Sammy is her daughter's best friend. I didn't hear her say that before. I think that was like a revised version of the whole thing. You back Jeff format annoyed me, not him, but Toe. He always talks about presenting his info over and over, stretches out content, but go PI and Jeff. I think with all of us content creators, there's likely really good things about each content creator and things that are extremely annoying. And I have found that there's been content creators that I've loved that have annoyed me. And there's been content creators that I have not been able to tolerate that I am really glad that I went back to check them out again, because otherwise I would have missed some real gems. I think that there's, it's just part of the human element. Nobody's perfect. It's great that people are putting themselves out there. If we tried to be perfect, we would never start our shows. We'd never start our channel. What live? I missed it. And if you let loose, I want to see it. Okay, it was last night. I'll say it again. If anybody wants to type it into the thing, I'll pin it. Truckee treating Halloween live chat, Squirrels on Fire, 10 flippin' hours long. It went till I think about 3:30 this morning. So I told everyone that I was going to be a little bit late with my morning coffee, my morning Joe. It's Tuesday, 50 minutes to midnight here Wednesday. Thank you. Bless your heart. Keep continuing and seeking Kylie's justice. Right. And thank you for reminding me. I always like to timestamp my videos so people that are watching them next year will, they can look on the thumbnail, but also sometimes those thumbnails are inaccurate. Have you guys noticed that? Like, it'll say something is 1 day old when it's already 3 days old and you already watched it, but you think, wait, is that brand new? Did I miss it? It's really annoying, but I think they do that on purpose to try to look like there's more fresh material than there actually is. So today is November 1st, 2022, 10:14 a.m. And I don't think we're going to hear anything out of Truckee today or ever. Who knows? Who the heck knows? Off subject, but some really encouraging news regarding Summer Wells and Rose Bly. I hope this is the start of good things to come. Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't that be nice? So yeah, I felt very compelled to stay in that chat for 5 hours. It was cracking me up. And what? Jack D says, I can show you my videos, anime admitting human trafficking. Yeah, if you go to her little crafting site, you guys know the name of it. I have it written down somewhere. She's got like some kid crafting site. You always got to look out for things that have kid in the name of them. They often have links to the underworld. Crime Watch with Kenny. I follow that case closely, but the roller coaster is so exhausting. I pray for Rose and Summer, but I'm afraid we will never get any real answers. Man. So one of the things that is said a lot in court that I don't think I've shared with my audience here, and it kind of applied last night. I didn't say it. I don't think anybody said it in the live last night. And I don't think I've ever seen anybody say it in any YouTube thing, but I'm sure it's been said. It's a very, very typical lawyer speak in a trial or in a deposition when somebody is being cross-examined, basically, and they're getting badgered politely by the attorney protecting that witness will say, asked and answered, asked and answered, asked and answered. So when I first heard that, I use it with my kids all the time. Mom, can I get a candy bar? No. Can I get a candy bar? No. Can I get a candy bar? Asked and answered. Asked and answered. Like, leave it, right? So I don't know if anyone's ever heard that, but it's a good one. Use it with your kids. Lawyers use it all the time. It's one of their, I think it's one of the best tools in their bag of tricks. It's just a good, how many words is that? 3? Asked and answered. Like, shut the fuck up. God. Yes, let's all call Placer County, if nothing else, just to annoy the piss out of them. That's not lawful law, Judge Justice. Should we call Placer and ask them for the time of press conference? That's a great idea. Oh my God. Yeah, my wrench got on there. Thank you, Maud. And she says, Mark Molina, yes, yes, I'm going to. And can you, Maud, are you able to pin things? Because the other mods have said that they couldn't. I thought that you could. Let's see. Where'd that go? Should we call Placer? I'm pinning that one. Um, absolutely. What time is your press conference? Just wondering. Why didn't the host ask for my video? I think she did. So Jack, I don't know how to do all this fancy stuff with the screen sharing. If you want to email it to me and maybe email it to somebody like Squirrel Girl, or I'm sorry, I meant Squirrels on Fire. Squirrel Girl's great too. But Squirrels on Fire has like master skills with the screen sharing. So does Watts the Obsession. A lot of the creators do. I'm just so new at it. I don't know how to do that yet. But I'm hoping to learn it really soon. Is this the You Back pregame live chat? Right. So You Back says he's going to be presenting some really solid material from his PI that he got yesterday at noon, that he'll be presenting it, I assume tonight, because I think he works like 9 to 5. So I wouldn't expect it until like 10 tonight. Hopefully he'll be able to get it out as promised, especially because he's using it to sell some memberships. And if people are buying the membership, no pressure, Jeff, but you better deliver, right? I mean, I got faith in you. And I'm sorry that I was like the naysayer over the last few days, like, oh, I don't believe anybody's going to get anywhere with this crap. I was really being a wet towel. But like I said, I live on hope, but I like to be realistic. Mod, let me be a mod too for 2 minutes. I will post the video, then unmod me. Jack, it's really hard for us to do that. Yeah, the email. Let me give you the email. It is justice, ATOOZ, @gmail.com. There you go. Email it. So Justice A2Z. It doesn't matter uppercase, lowercase, but it's kind of odd because it's spelled out TOO, just because all the other Justice A to Z's way of spelling it with numbers and what have you, the letters, they were all taken. Every single one of them except that. So at least I got that one. Thank you, Jack. Yeah, email Ahmad the video. So I was up all night, and then I got up and did my morning thing, and here I am, and I'm really happy to be with you guys. I'm really happy that I was putting so much forth on the YouTube yesterday. I feel like, especially in the face of a lot of the attention going to Delphi, and I think that's great. That Delphi case certainly needs the attention, but I think that Kylie's case needs the hyper focus. I don't want to miss a beat. I really don't. I'm glad you're keeping the Kylie Rodney case open. Truckee wants to bury it. Right. So, let's see. I think I've said most of the things I wanted to say from that notebook. I've got a whole page here. All right. So we'll get through this. I will look at my notes. I'll look up and Maud, are you able to pin things? Because it would be nice if you could focus on the pinning. But I'll try to look up and see what I can catch. M. Marie says, let's pin that. Yeah, everybody call Placer County and ask them what time is the press conference. That'd be so funny. Okay, this was very close to my heart as well, given I was up there when the precious young lady had gone missing. I was at Stateside, South Tahoe. Wow. And that's what I was mentioning that yesterday, how I think it was actually in the live last night, how criminals don't realize how much they're hurting everybody, not just the person that they're victimizing and that person's family and friends. They're hurting themselves. They're hurting their own family and friends. They're hurting everybody. in the community. And now with technology, that community goes worldwide. There's people on the other side of the world that have lost a lot of sleep over this case and many others, right? Able to unable to pin Heather's comment. Okay, let me see which one. Is it this one that you wanted to pin? Kylie is being erased before our eyes. We have to be her voice. And you know who is really taking the charge with that is CNY. She's really taken the charge with, I'm surprised she hasn't driven up to Truckee yet to put up giant posters of Kylie's face. A billboard. Oh my God. Have you guys seen that movie, Three Billboards? I think that's what it's called. It's a couple years old. Oh my God. What if we did that? What if we worked with like Harsh and UBAC Tube Jeff to get a billboard of Kylie's face, a big one, more than one, in prime locations? Oh, that would be the best karma for these people, wouldn't it? Unable to pin Heather's comment. Okay, I got that one. So, yes, I love that movie. Oh, wow, that one is a good one. Damn, we need her on the case. Which one are you talking to? Lost Souls channel? I am not familiar with Lost Souls. I'm going to write that down in my handy dandy notebook. I've never heard that one. Lost Souls channel. Thank you. So, let's see. I was going to share with you guys something traumatic that happened with me that was not the thing I mentioned the other day about somebody making an attempt on my life when I was a minor. This happened to me as an adult, and I have shared a little bit about it with you guys. That I haven't shared the specifics. Okay, so I'm going to share some of the specifics. I worked for a large city court, and I was sexually harassed, and I was about 31, I think, at the time. I didn't have any kids yet. I'd been married for a while. I had a master's degree. It was annoying. I didn't want to have to say anything. I was very shy about saying anything. I thought I could handle it myself because I didn't want to be the damsel in distress. I didn't want to be that person. And even I judged that person. And I thought, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to put myself out there and have people turn the tables and blame the victim and say, well, what were you wearing? Right. So I don't want to be too specific, but I want to bring it up because this is where I learned a lot of these great legal terms. I've been through a lot of court trials and hearings and such in different capacities, but this is the one that I was personally involved with. And I didn't take it personally, although my lawyer told me I should. But that's where I got the quote. You guys have heard me say this a couple times, that they knew or should have known. Okay. It applies in lawsuits when you're suing, like, say, an employer for negligence. It's their job to know. So in a situation like this case with Kylie, law enforcement saying that they didn't know her car was in the lake, they knew or should have known. Ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. So if you're ignorant to trespassing laws and you trespass, tough luck, right? Same thing with law enforcement that tries to play Barney Fife and say, oh, I didn't know what was going on. I don't know how to apply the law. What is that the law? What? Huh? And that's what they do. They'll pretend that they're dumber than a doorknob, or maybe they are, but they're conniving and they're crafty. And that's just like what they use when they're desperate and they have no other defense, right? So knew or should have known. And if they want to stick with that narrative of, here's our footage, there's the car going into the water on August 6th at 12:33 and a half, and it was sitting there up until August 21st when Adventures with Purpose discovered it. If they want to stick with that, they knew it was there. They have to admit that they knew it was there. It's their job to know. Man, somebody from the Catfish crew said that at one point they had 45 FBI agents standing right there, 55 feet, like right at the shore, 55 feet from the car. Okay. Like, I don't know when exactly, like maybe around August 13th. So, the other option is that maybe it wasn't there yet. Ryan Upchurch was the first one that I heard put that crazy theory out there that the criminals put the car there after the lake had been cleared, because that's what criminals do. That's how they operate. And Ryan knows this stuff. We don't, right? We're not criminals, most of us anyway. So I wanted to talk about the bullying because, people bully on YouTube, and I got bullied in that case that I just mentioned before it went to like the EEOC, which you have to go through that firewall to sue somebody. And EEOC doesn't even accept like 95% of their cases. So they only accept 5%. And then it doesn't matter what they say, whether they say it's valid, legit or not. You just have to go through that firewall, EEOC, that protects government agencies. All right. So I was lucky to get through that firewall to sue their asses and watch those idiots hang by their toenails over the pit of alligators. It was the best part of the whole thing and completely worth 4 years of hell. Okay. Anyway, back to the point. I got a letter from like one of the highest court officials early in this investigation when I was reluctantly going to my supervisor and he wasn't doing anything right. And I reluctantly took it to HR and she wasn't doing anything right. And I was just waiting and being patient and just trying to do my job and live my life. And then I got a letter from a very powerful court, superior court judge directed to me that literally said, in so many words, "You little ninny, don't you dare make such ridiculous accusations. Do you know that we can kick your ass for making this kind of shit up?" That was essentially what the letter said in more professional terminology. And I was just stunned. I was just like, oh my God. Like, I knew that it was totally wrong. But what I didn't know was that when I hired the attorney, they were so excited when I told them about that letter. They were like, "Are you kidding me? That's perfect." So the other thing that the attorneys got really excited about was the day that they served the main person named in the lawsuit. And the way people get served is usually by law enforcement or with bicycle messengers, right? And they hunt these people down. They find out where they are, like on their lunch hour or where they live or where they work. And they just find them and they serve them. They have to serve them face to face. That's how it has to be done. Yeah, the gaslighting, exactly. So the bicycle messenger that served the main perp was just cracking up when they came back to the attorney's office that they, that they worked for. And they had to share this story about how when they went to the court to serve the perp, and, you had to go through like the metal detector, and then everybody in the office was behind bulletproof glass, and they asked for this person by name, and the secretary at the bulletproof glass counter said, "Oh, I don't know who that is. No, they're not here." And, this is a seasoned server, so they know the tricks. They've been around the block. This always happens. So they knew that she was lying. They knew. And then they saw somebody run from one office into another, and they were like, "Is that him?" And she said, "No." They were like, "You got to let me in." And she's like, "I'm not letting you in." So they probably threatened her with like the police coming to arrest her. So she let them in. They went and served him. He was literally hiding under his desk. and denying that he was himself. I mean, the whole office of attorneys, there was a handful that worked there. It was a smaller firm. They just got the greatest belly laughs out of that for years. And they were so excited to share that story with me. And it is one of the best parts of the whole story. There's a couple others that maybe I'll share some other time. I want to get going on my list here. Oh, I just knocked something down. I'm not going to worry about it. So just that authoritarianism, the bullying, and when these people are in positions of authority and they're abusing their power, like that judge was clearly bullying me and abusing her power. Unfortunately, I'm just going to say it. I'm a white woman. I'm educated. I've told you guys I have family. I've grown up in a family of military and first responders. I had a double master's degree. I was in a very stable marriage already for 6 years or something. I spoke good English, as my first language. I say all these things because that's why I took it to the next level when I was like, I'm just going to get the hell out of this joint. These people are ridiculous. And I thought, what about the people who've been sexually assaulted and this is going to trigger them? What about the people who can't even speak good English? They're not Caucasian. They're not married. They're not in a stable situation. They're not educated. I felt like I had to do that. I had to step up for every person out there that couldn't do it. I felt like, I've got everything going for me. I should be able to handle this. And it was still super, super hard. And like I mentioned once or twice before, I thought I was signing up for maybe like a 12 to 24 month challenge. It was actually a 48-month challenge. And I had no idea. Had I known, I probably would have said, yeah, no, thank you. But I'm really glad that I did it. I'm really glad, it's worth it. It's worth fighting for what's right. So, and I'm lucky. I'm lucky that I had all of those things going for me. And I want to say this because this applies to me and this applies to a lot of us. Any trauma triggers your old trauma. So I'd already had a lifetime of therapy. I was a trained therapist and I thought I had all my issues resolved. When this happened, and not so much the harassment. Like, I know there's idiots that do that kind of shit, right? I mean, I wasn't ignorant to that, but I was very naive about how corrupt government can be and the whitewashing. Like, I never knew what that term was until then. I never knew what hanging somebody out to dry meant until then. There's a lot of these terms that I was just like, oh my God, I get it. I get it. So what we're seeing right now with this car accident bullshit is the whitewashing. And what we're seeing with this car accident bullshit of this girl being an idiot that doesn't know how to drive, that's hanging her out to dry. So fuck them. Fuck them all. Compare Zanime and Sammy's eyes. They are related. Aunt niece. I love how one of those people in the Catfish crew would call Elsa her niece cousin. My cousin niece, my niece cousin. She's like, what are you talking about? It's one or the other. It's not both. Okay. So Kevin Neese, bless his soul and his 10 years of law enforcement, because as you guys know, people on the inside track rarely come out to speak against the system. It goes against the grain of kind of being an American in a way, but really being an American is standing up for what's right. So when the system is fucked, if you're not standing up for it, you're part of the problem. You're absolutely part of the problem. So thank goodness for Kevin Neese with his 10 years law enforcement under his belt, and he's stepping forward. I think it was just this morning that he did this short that huge shout outs to him. If you haven't seen his stuff, I know most of you have, please go over there, like, subscribe, and share. And he's got a great song, the one, My New Friends, that he wrote about Kylie, about a dream that he had about her. It's amazing. So Kevin Nee said, answer me these two questions. You accident camp people. So right now we're like having the war. We're in the accident camp. We're in the foul play camp. It's crap. Aren't we all in the truth seeking camp? Except for the posers that are on here trying to pretend that they're true crime when they're really just true gaslighting. Can they have like their own genre? Like, they got to get kicked out of the true crime community and they got to go over to their gaslighting community. That's a good one. I'm tickled with myself. I'm late, but I made it. No notification. I'm going to have StreamYard, and then StreamYard will do the notification. Hopefully I'll get that together in the next couple of days. Camp gaslighters. That's a good one. Yes. So back to Kevin Neese. He had two questions for you guys in that camp gaslighters, camp accident. Why the mass exodus, if this was just a car accident? And why did the parents tell their kids to stay quiet and not get involved if this was just an accident? I was just like, damn, Kevin, those are two really simple questions that really say it all. I've got my fan over here so I don't get too hot. So it kind of messes with my little hair blowing. Anyway, I'm going to read some of your questions and statements up here. I don't tend to trust YouTube Jeff anymore. I emailed him my Zanime information to no avail. I know he's getting slammed with a lot of emails. I would not take that personally or as any type of indicator. It's hard to keep up with our emails, and his channel, I think, has like doubled or tripled in the last few weeks, if I'm not mistaken. He's getting really close to 10,000 subs if he's not there already. I think it was like 6,000 a few weeks ago when I looked at it. Did anyone think Barbara on Duty Run changed her tune on round 2 reports in that we don't know camp? People did not do their job camp. Good question. I don't know. Honestly, I don't watch Duty Run. I've tried. Got better things to do. Sorry, not sorry. I try not to ever, go there, but okay. And I'm sure I'm missing a lot of good stuff on Duty Run. Let me say that. Okay. I'm sure I'm missing a lot of good stuff. So, I'm shooting myself in the foot. And that makes me wonder, how many cases have these YouTubers interfered and helped to push a certain narrative? Absolutely, Kiki Ray. Let me pin that, because that's exactly what's going on. That's exactly what's going on. Replace pinned message. Yeah, I'm going to read that again. And that makes me wonder, how many cases have these YouTubers interfered and helped to push a certain narrative? And like, going back to the behavior panel, they have hundreds of thousands of subs, and they're putting out this bullshit profile of analyzing Sammy in her interview with Tony Dodge. Like, that's fraudulent, and they can be held accountable for that in a court of law. And really, that's the one thing that I feel like I want to keep reminding myself of, and we all need to be careful of, is that, we can't try these people in YouTube. We know this, but sometimes maybe we forget. And I said it last night in the live. I said, Megan coming out and standing up for Sammy isn't going to save her hiney from herself. Like, arguing with us content creators or panels in YouTube land isn't going to do a damn thing for Sammy. Sammy is hosing herself up. In lawyer speak, she's taken enough rope that she's hung herself real good, right? As her can't talk. As Harsh Reality says, I digress. Hey, can't digress. Yeah. Duty Ron is legit. Well, I know he's legit, but that's not my point. He has a lot of valuable information and input and connections with other professionals that help to bring understanding without prejudice. And I disagree. I think a lot of that is the establishment holding firm on being the establishment and not allowing true justice. So I will stand on that line and fight for justice. I think, Duty Ron, if you're watching this, in all due respect, I call bullshit. Cut the crap. If you're out for truth and you're out for justice, cut the fucking crap. Sorry, not sorry. Okay? Maybe that's unprofessional. I don't care. I'm not like a professional. I'm not a professional YouTuber. I'm an amateur YouTuber. I have my profession. In my professional life, I can curse if I want. In my amateur YouTube life, I can curse if I want. In my private life, I can curse if I want. It's called freedom of speech. That's what we're doing here. That's really what YouTube is all about. And that's really what our constitutional rights are all about. Sorry, Duty Ron disappoints me. Good cops don't tolerate incompetence and corruption in their brotherhood. Absolutely. And at the same time, there's a lot of good cops who are unable to address it because they're not in a position of power and they will get burned. The whistleblower laws, okay? Right here, the whistleblower laws are supposed to protect whistleblowers, but it's not ironclad. If you're a whistleblower in a court system like I was, or you're a whistleblower in a law enforcement agency like, let's say Sam Brown decides he wants to blow the whistle on his big boss lady, he's not protected. And yeah, I mean, these people have guns and power and a license to kill, and anything's possible. And I hate to go there, but that's the real world. I mean, that's like the bullying and the terrorism. Those are the threats. Nobody has to make a direct threat. The threats are there, and we all know it. That's the unspoken truth. So Duty Ron has called out LE. Well, good. I'm happy for that. Says many procedures weren't followed. Good. Excellent. Good to hear. Like I said, I don't think I'm always right. I know that I'm not always right. Okay. I mean, freaking A. Yesterday I said 9/11 2002 when I meant 9/11 2001, and I went on for, I don't know, 5 minutes or so before I saw in the comments somebody said, and thank you Titanium Built, said she did say 2002 but she means 2001. And I was like, what? Yes, you're right. But I've been doing that ever since it happened. I switch up the year because I was pregnant with my first child when it happened, and I gave birth to her in 2002. So in my silly dyslexic mind, I always think, right, it was 2002 when it happened. No, it happened like 6 months before I had my first child. So, Phantasmic Ether, you're my spirit animal. Oh, that's so cute. Love and so very much appreciated your unfiltered and educated perspective. Most of all, that you have so much passion and heart in your work. Thank you. Can I pin that? That's such a nice compliment. And when I used to make jewelry for a living as a younger person before I went to graduate school, one of the challenges with that was that it was my hobby. It was my profession. It was my creative outlet. It was my art. It was everything. So it was really hard for me to maintain balance with a social life and exercise. Really hard, because all I wanted to do was make piles and piles of jewelry. And I needed to make piles and piles of jewelry so that I could sell them, so that I could pay my bills and all that great stuff. Um, Easy to call out mistakes, Duty Ron, but do something about it, Duty Ron. You got connections. You know what, Mark? I'm gonna pin that one too. That is a hot ticket message. I said that yesterday too about the ex-police chief of the Seattle Police Department, who says in one of the Kurt Cobain Courtney Love movies, that if he were the police chief now, he would do things extremely differently. And he infers a lot. And that's exactly what I said about him yesterday, is like, man, too little, too late. Like, you have connections. You're an ex-police chief. Like, once a police chief, always a police chief, just like a rank in military or like a president. You never lose that rank. You never lose that authority. You never lose those connections. So if you're saying that you would do it differently if you were the police chief now, get a hold of some police chiefs and some people in positions of power and pull some strings and get some shit done. Otherwise, the next time blood is shed, it's you. You're part of the problem. Like, you could have protected these innocent people and you didn't feel like it. It was inconvenient. It's when I like to say the inconvenient truth. Like, yeah, it's very inconvenient, extremely inconvenient. Anytime you're in a position where you need to hire a lawyer, you're kind of screwed, right? How many? Put a 1 up if you've been in a position where you've had to hire a lawyer, okay? Put a 2 up if you've been in a position where you've had to hire a lawyer and you weren't screwed. I mean, it's not a good position to be in. But once you have your lawyer, you're good to go. You're hiring them to take care of it for you. Like, you can take a vacation from those problems and let them run with it. That's their job. That's why you're paying them $300 an hour. Dang. I went to Duty Ron with something personal. He treated me like dirt and blocked me. I'm not in his in New York circle there. Wow. I am so sorry to hear that. That's weird. That's weird. I whistle blew and was hunted. Jedi, stay high. I don't know if you could share more of that. When I get my StreamYard, and if you're interested in coming up on a panel and talking about that, I would love to hear about your whistleblowing and hunted. And also, sorry, to go back to Mrs. Kelly, if you feel like sending me anything about that, email. We put it up a few minutes ago, the justice, ATOOZ @gmail.com. Again, I'm pretty overwhelmed with my emails, but I'm trying to keep up. I am getting them all read eventually, and I'll try to send some type of response so that you know that I've read it when I get to it. So Phantasmic Ether. So she's had to hire some attorneys. Yeah, family court's the worst, I think, in my opinion. Because court is so stressful no matter what it is. I mean, if it's over the water rights of your snow and lake and your water company, it's completely impersonal, but it's so stressful. It takes over your life. But when it's your children and it's your marriage, nothing can be more stressful, in my humble opinion. My ex got a lawyer but lost against me. Well, good, because pretty much you have to have a lawyer. I'm just saying that as advice for anybody in a situation where they feel like they can't afford one. It's almost like you have no choice. You have to afford one. And I know for a lot of people, it's not an option, but try to use some resources like, domestic violence. Usually there's resources for women that are victims of domestic violence. You have to fit right into their category to qualify for the assistance, but seek things out, maybe friends or family. Sometimes if there's a big cash payout expected, the attorney will gladly take your case on a contingency basis, that they only get paid if they win. And then if they win, they get half or 35% or whatever. Yeah, agree. Worst experience. How am I to respond to your inquiry? Oh, are you talking about the inquiry of the gaslighting? I mean, like I said, I don't have StreamYard yet. So if you wanted to put it in the comments or send me an email, or hopefully I'll be getting my StreamYard in a couple of days and get it up and running. Yeah, the whistleblowing. Thank you. The necklaces look gorgeous. I really, honestly,
only wear one necklace at a time usually. And when I was putting these on, I thought, this is me doing this for Kylie with the 3 necklaces. Um, and I do think it looks cool. You know, I like to go with less is more. I like to keep things simple because it can get complicated, and it can be a distraction. And then you can't, for me, it's like I can't see the beauty of all the necklaces. Like the 3 that I had on yesterday, that was really hard, especially on the screen, to see what they were. So when it's one at a time, sometimes it's easier to appreciate. Like these are like super simple earrings, and I really like that. um, yeah, thank you, Jedi. Please do email me. I'm super interested in the whistleblowing thing, and then we can try to coordinate and do, if you're interested in being in a panel. um, Meb comment needs to be pinned. Okay, let me go back. Meb comment. What? Did I catch that? I'm totally lost. Oh, here we go. Is this it? Or was there something after it? If you can't clean your own organization, how can you clean our streets, law enforcement? Damn. Yeah, I think that one was it. Again, so simple. Like, need we say more? I think that's a really good, solid message. And I'd like to go ahead and ask you guys to please hit the thumbs up and sub and share if you will. And yeah, if you are interested in checking out the 10-hour live from last night, I'll give you a few points of reference. It was at about the 9 hour and 8 minute mark that I confronted Megan, and it was about the 9 hour 11 minute mark that she said, I'm out of here. She was crying, and I did feel bad. You know, I certainly didn't want to like hit her where she's vulnerable. I just wanted there to be progress. I felt like she was back in that rut that she's been talking in for the whole time that she's been coming out talking on these platforms. And I was just hoping to get her out of that rut. So I hope that in the big picture, maybe it was helpful. I'm used to having to fight in situations like with mental health. Okay. Every time I came to work and was doing the mind police thing where I could detain a person against their will for 72 hours, every day I came to work ready to fight, and I didn't care who I pissed off. I knew I was there to do a job to help people. I might piss off the person that I'm helping. I might piss off their family. I might piss off the professional making this referral to me. And I couldn't freaking care. It didn't matter to me which one of them or all of them that I pissed off. I was going to do my job to the best of my ability. And if they wanted to give me lip, they could just give me lip. I wasn't worried about it. It was stressful to come to work every morning with your boxing gloves on, ready to punch. But I didn't so much punch. I think I tried to do the martial artist thing of just like kind of getting out of the way and letting them fall to the ground. Again, I was a master's level mental health professional in Washington State, where the laws are different. The only 2 states that are like that are Washington and Alaska, where doctors do not have the authority to put somebody in a psychiatric hold. They don't have the authority. It doesn't matter if there's 20 of them that agree. They do not have that authority because a whole bunch of them abused that authority back in the 70s, and they all locked up their wives at Western State Hospital in Pierce County, Washington. I kid you not. I kid you not. That is where the birth of county designated mental health professionals came from, because it was discovered that a whole bunch of doctors had their wives locked up in the state facility with the keys thrown away. No shit. I can't believe I haven't mentioned this before. There's your fucking Handmaid's Tale. So Washington State, and doctors do their residencies. They come from states, all, other countries, other states, and they're not educated on that. Hey, you happen to be in a state where you don't have the authority you have in all the other states in this country. And so they want to get in your face and say, you're just some little blonde ninny with a master's degree, and I'm a big boy doctor, so you shut up and listen to me. And I'm just be like, yeah, sorry, not sorry. I mean, I wasn't trying to be condescending. I was just trying to stay focused on my job of helping this person in crisis and protecting their constitutional civil rights. That was my job. I actually didn't agree with it. I actually felt like if somebody was a danger to themselves or others, that it was more important to protect everybody's safety than it was to protect this person's constitutional rights. But that wasn't my job. My job was to protect their constitutional rights and the safety of themselves and others, and to weigh it all out and to write a report that solidly supported whatever decision it was that I had, whether that was to put them in a 72-hour hold, a locked facility, like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, or to say, you're good to go home, have a great day, which it was never like that. But it was my job to come up with the least restrictive alternative. So if they had a therapist, I could work with that. If they had family, I could work with that. If they had access to an outpatient, I could work with that. But honestly, if they were a danger to themselves or others, that really was the bottom line. That, you've got to protect health and safety of them and everybody else. And there were mental health professionals in that area that had been fatally assaulted when doing their job. There were mental health professionals who didn't do their job, and then the person killed themselves 10 minutes later, or an hour later, or a day later. And, if you did your job to the best of your ability and that happens, that sucks, but you did everything you could. I'm getting a little emotional. If you were lazy and were like, man, I really need to get to Starbucks and get a latte, let's just wrap this shit up and go. And there were people that did that. And then something would happen. There was one person that released somebody from a jail referral. And this person went and killed, I think, 2 people. It was a domestic violence situation. And that particular social worker referred every single case that she had, every single one of them, to the mental health professionals, because she was so scared of making that mistake again. So every time we got a call from her, we knew that there was a good chance that we weren't really needed, but it was our job to show up. There was one time where I argued with her and said, I'm not coming. You don't need to make this referral. And she couldn't believe that I wasn't willing to come, but she did not have a case to substantiate, to warrant my coming. Because once I showed up, it was a good 5-hour commitment to interview the person and do all the paperwork and get the person hospitalized, because you're like the social worker as well as the cop. Once it was in my hands, I couldn't leave until this person was in a safe position. And when you have a really dangerous, mentally ill person, sometimes nobody wants to take them. Sometimes all the beds are full. So you can't go home until you're done, unless you can beg and plead with the next person coming on duty to take your case. And of course, there are situations like that. But pretty much once you started a case, it was your job to see it through to the end before you went home that day. I used to have an Etsy shop and made jewelry for years. It's addictive, very mentally therapeutic, easy to get sucked into, though, and not move for like days. I mostly paint now, same issue. Right, exactly. And yeah, I like to move. We have to move. We have to, it's like use it or lose it. So I like to walk and swim and jog a little bit. It's kind of rough on my knees. I like to do yoga and gardening. To me, gardening is like yoga. Even housework can be like yoga, but I hate housework. I mean, my God, I wish I liked it more. I try to listen to music or watch a movie, but sometimes I just get into the zen of it. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up here. I want to thank you guys again for joining me. I feel like this has been, for me, a very cathartic and therapeutic experience. So I thank you guys. I hope it's been good for you too. And let's keep at it. Let's keep fighting for Kylie and fighting for other innocent victims. So, in recapping, maybe we can do something to get a bulletin board or 2 or 3 in the Truckee area with Kylie's face staring down at the people that wronged her, that betrayed her, that hurt her, that ended her life, that participated in that to any extent, or participated in a cover up. Maybe it was an accident, whatever happened, right? Perhaps it was accidental, but why the fuck are you covering it up? I mean, obviously you're covering it up because you did something bad. So step forth, just the truth will set you free. Right? Again, I find myself in my little soapbox. Da, 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 da. I don't like to do that. I mean, we all have freedom of speech. We all have the freedom to weigh out our options and make the best decision that we can given the situation. Sometimes, you're between a rock and a hard place and you got to basically pick your poison. I like that saying, right? You got to pick your poison. Like if you were one of these kids in this situation, are you going to step forward and talk to law enforcement and talk to non-corrupt law enforcement and cleanse yourself of your guilt? Or are you going to keep hiding it, risking suicide, risking getting killed off by one of these other fucking frenemies that's afraid that you might leak on them someday? Like, you gotta just grab the bull by the horns. I'm thinking of that little bull sticker on Kylie's car. You gotta grab the bull by the horns and take charge. The smart ones are going to be the first ones to step forward, and those are the people who are going to get the good deals, right? Please, anybody who knows anything, please step forward. Do it for yourself, not just for Kylie. Do it for everybody. Do it for yourself. Do it for public health and safety. Because if we have a Joran Vandersloot out there, we all know what happened with Stephanie Ramirez on the 5-year anniversary of Natalee Holloway disappearing. Natalee Holloway disappeared in Aruba. Most people know the whole Natalee Holloway story. Joran Vandersloot was put in prison over 5 years later after he slaughtered Stephanie Ramirez in a hotel room in Lima, Peru. I brought it up once before and mentioned how she had met him at a table, but I didn't say what kind of table. They were gambling. They were at a poker table. And apparently she was hitting on him. And apparently maybe she confronted him once they were in his room. And that's why he flipped out and cut her into a million pieces. But the only person to tell that story is him. So, we can't believe what he says. I doubt she would have gone into a room alone with him and then confronted him about being a killer. I mean, he's just trying to come up with a logic of, he was probably just celebrating that he had gotten away with it 5 years earlier, and he was going to up the ante and see if he could get away with it again, right? So that's been my biggest concern with this whole case, is that we've got a Joran Vandersloot maybe at UC Irvine. I don't like to point fingers, but I like to call a spade a spade. So I just hope that nothing happens to anybody at UC Irvine or anywhere else. I went to a doctor with something personal. Oh, right. Miss Kelly. I'm going to do that again. Wait, what happened? That's okay. I'm way off. Here we go. It was nice seeing you all this morning, and I had so many kids here last night. I don't know what you mean. I had so many kids here last night. Oh, you're talking about just knowing people that were in the 10-hour chat. or the 10-hour. I mean, it was a live chat and a panel discussion. Yeah, that was pretty wild. 10 hours. I don't know why they call it a friendly fight. Nothing friendly about it. And let me add too that like in military, a lot of people die in friendly fire. Friendly fire. Um, friendly fire is just as lethal as enemy fire. And think about that too when you're in kind of a psychological war combat at work or at home or with the internet. Okay, on that, you guys have a great day. Drink your water, eat your fruits, your veggies, your protein, get your exercise, fresh air, sunshine, take a deep breath, take it easy. Give yourself permission to take the rest of the day off. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and I'm giving you a license to take the rest of the day off. Like I've said before, even if you can't, just kind of flip that switch in your mind to allow yourself an extra break, some extra slack. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to get it all done. Follow the beat of your own drum. So thanks so much, you guys. You are so inspiring to me, and I appreciate you so much. And I'll see you later today. Have a great one, and peace out.